Hey there guys, it's Metro, and today we returned both from vacation, which was amazing by the way, and back to World of Warcraft, which I'm very excited to find out is finally in patch 8.0. And we were testing out a lot of the changes, especially war mode, a lot of the world stuff, and some other stuff. But I ran into this thread, which is going to be in the description. Typically, you know, I want to read this thread. I want to go through these topics, but I think this is one that does require some video, so we're just going to have that up there instead. Watch the video and we'll talk about the thread as we go. But the thread's title is, this is hilarious, game is absolutely broken in every way possible. Classic dungeons. Okay, well, first of all, that's just classic dungeons. Anyway. Yeah, we could go on this for a while, but yeah, I would encourage you guys to read it. It's, again, in the description, maybe in the pinned comments, something like that as well. But the guy says, classic dungeons are impossible to complete now. You don't have the output to deal with trash mobs any longer. You heal for 1% of your player's HP bar. You don't do any kind of damage either. Please revert the game back to Legion and go back to Alpha on BFA. This clearly needs more work and should have been worked on for longer than 6 months. So, I mean, obviously some big problems out of the gate. The guy's talking about blah, 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 worked on longer than 6 months. This was not tested. I mean, this is why, if there is bugs or inadequacies in the system, that they're there. Because you, Mr. Landy or whatever the dude's name is, with 9K achievement points, you didn't participate in the beta or the PTR or do any testing along this line. If you did, and these systems were problematic months ago, then you would know. You would know about this already. You would have made a thread on this already. So, of course, no surprise there. But what I did want to illustrate in this video is I think the problem is the people. Based on this thread, this guy goes on a, I mean, I don't like to use overly derogative words. But let's put it this way. I think he has something wrong with him because there's somebody in the thread talking about, yeah, this is just a problem with you, blah, blah, blah. And he starts like talking about how he's got cutting edge. I mean, he killed Argus in March. It's like, dude, it's nothing to be like, you don't need to brag about these things. This is not impressive. To me, it's immediately viewed as a problem with the individuals in the dungeons. And as you see, I think I got some pretty good evidence of this, okay? So I'm playing a warrior, Prot warrior. If you guys watched the stream a couple months ago, you know where this character came from. But regardless, it's a level 60 character. I'm looking at a paladin in the group now. They're in full heirlooms, and they're doing a lot of damage. I have no heirlooms whatsoever on any of these first two clips that we show here. But, yeah, that's not really the point. The point is that, you know, I'm doing this completely no heirloom tank. And I'm pretty capable of surviving. Now, we wiped a couple times, but as you see here, the mage... So I'm going to tell you exactly about what's happening, okay? The priest got all upset because I pulled this gauntlet, which typically is fodder. You just cleave it down. It's not the case anymore. It's harder, it takes longer, has more health, does more damage. And I'm a Prot warrior. Obviously, I don't have great self-healing, so I'm requiring him to do it. He's not doing it, blah, blah, blah. He gets all on my case. Eventually he ends up leaving, as you're going to see here. And yeah, I don't know what to say. But so he's all upset, right? And then the mage got, like, I don't even know what to say, got lost, okay? He went the wrong way. He ran into mobs that we skipped. And he's like, I'm trying not to die, like if it was my fault. Okay? And then we're in Emp's room. And I go to pull some trash, which you don't have to do anymore, by the way. If you're doing BRD in 2019 or whatever year this is, you don't have to pull all the trash. I started pulling it all, and then somebody aggroed the boss, right? So it's like, you know what I mean? These are not problems with the dungeons. If we're gonna fail, it's because these group members are inadequate, okay? And then furthermore, you'll see down on the bottom left there, now using details on live, by the way. Age, that's my Prot warrior, second on damage. Okay, that's probably not a good thing considering I have no heirlooms, and yeah, I'm not prepared. I don't have anything, right? So what this tells me, you know, and you're gonna see it. I have a couple more clips. I have a druid, tank, and I have a hunter, and we'll talk about those as we go. But I think what you're seeing here, and like I said, based on the replies and the comments on this this thread that I've been discussing here, I think that the people who are complaining about this, like, I don't know, I hate to do this, but I think you guys are just noobs. I really do. But I'm sure there's something actually legitimate about it. I don't think this guy has found anything legitimate. Because if at any point, let me give you guys a little lesson here. If at any point you want to make a point, okay, and your main, like the forward-facing element of your point is game is absolutely broken in every way possible, please leave. Please do not talk, okay? By the way, Iron Foe dropped. I don't know how rare that is nowadays, but here's another example. I'm trying to get this guy's attention. He has heirloom weapons on. Clearly doesn't need Iron Foe. I don't plan on using any heirlooms or even caring about this character, but it would be nice to have Iron Foe. I don't think I even have the transmog. I'm trying to type to him, blah, blah, blah. Just leaves. So that, I mean, I don't know. I'm probably approaching this from a thin angle, but I can't help but feel like, you know, a lot of the people in these groups are just really bad. And I think you're going to see a good counter example of this. So look at how large I'm playing. This is lowers. I don't know what that is, by the way. If anyone knows what that giant green thing is, let me know. But anyway, yeah, I'm pulling lowers, which historically is one of the hardest dungeons in the game because it's kind of not been scaled down properly. It's got a lot of the old classic things still in it. And I'm, again, fully un-heirloomed, no enchants, nothing at all on bear. And this shaman is doing work, man, keeping me up. I'm rotating my CDs very well. I think we're working very well together. And he's stunned, you know what I mean? He just AoE stunned. I'm stunning. I'm interrupting, no stuns, obviously. But, you know, we're both playing well together. And, you know, here he asked to stop for mana, which I didn't see. So, like, this is my fault, you know what I mean? If we wipe because he doesn't have mana, this is 100% my fault. So, I can't, it's not the dungeon, you know what I mean? It's not the dungeon's fault. But again, I'm sure there's something legitimate about this complaint because some people are saying things like, yeah, blah, blah, blah. Dungeons were like this in 7.3.5. Whatever you might think is happening was also happening in 7.3.5. But some are explicitly broken. And at the time of recording this, I made a post in this thread asking to get something actually like legitimate about what this discussion is, and nobody's answered so far. So we'll wait and see on that. I'm sure by the time this has been live, I'll have some answers. But again, in the comments below, if you guys know of dungeons, besides classic, it doesn't even have to be just classic, any level range, anything you've done that is explicitly broken, I would love to hear about it. But as you see, 3 enraged mobs. One of them's a caster. I don't know if he's actually enraged, but you know, I'm getting hit very hard. Healer's able to keep me up. I'm rotating CDs. I don't have Hellstones. I probably don't even have a spell or two bound. I haven't looked at these characters' spells at all. I know a couple, like when I started playing, but look at the damage, right? Bear Druid, top DPS, right? So I don't know who's, like, is this me doing an exceptional job? I doubt it. I'm no heirlooms, none at all, not a single one. No enchants, no brain, right? I carry no brain in these dungeons. Like I said, I might not even have all my spells on my bar. I didn't even look. Certainly didn't put much effort into talents, okay? And I'm doing the top DPS, you know what I mean? Well, how's that happening? How's that happening on 3 mobs? You guys don't have heirlooms either? I don't know. So I can't help but feel like, and I said we're playing very well. I think the shaman probably does have heirlooms, but yeah, he's going to keep me up here. This is good. This is impressive. You know what I mean? This guy's playing well. I think I'm playing relatively well. Obviously play a tank all the time. So I could counter these damage spikes, but I don't know. I don't know what the problem is. So like I said, I'm sure there's something specific. And if you guys do know it, please let me know. If you ran into situations that, so I talked about it in the thread, but we did I-17, which harder than it should have been. But regardless, something I did notice was that some of the mobs felt like they had a lot less health than they used to have proportionally to our power. And then some things had a lot more, like the Hydra heads on the, the 3rd boss there in I. It took a long time to kill them. I feel like it took longer to kill them than it would have on previous Tyrannical weeks, especially on a 17 with players who are, you know, 980-ish item level, more like 975-ish, and a couple carry. But regardless, I think there are inadequacies in the scaling, and I don't want to write that off. But I think if you're making a thread and the title is "Game is absolutely broken in every possible way," I don't mean to be disparaging, but I think you should go outside. I say this all the time, but please take it as a compliment. Take it for what it is. You can do a lot outside, and I just went on a great vacation. Kind of a tangent here, but I just went on a great vacation. I didn't use my cell phone. I didn't use any tech. I didn't play any games. I tried not to think about any of this stuff for 6 full days. And I came back so reinvigorated. I came back feeling great. So energized for gaming, for WoW, for tech, for media, for Twitter, for everything, you know? I'm very excited to be playing games again. So if at any point you think that the game is absolutely broken in every possible way, you need to take a break. You really do. You need to go outside. Okay. So again, final clip here you're going to see on the Hunter. This is a Hunter that I have at level 30 something. Full heirlooms. This time full heirlooms. Fully decked out. No enchants on the heirlooms. Nothing too crazy, but I do have full heirlooms. And I'm actually doing this on purpose. Intentionally pulling things for the mob, or for the tank. Tank has no heirlooms. Seemingly very poor gear. And we're just kind of getting ahead of him at every, because I wanted to test threat too. I thought the threat situation would be a bigger problem in the pre-patch, but in the few dungeons I've done, both at low level and Mythic Plus, they're not a problem at all. It doesn't matter. You still do a ton of damage as a tank, and it's gonna matter in BFA, but it does not matter now. But as you see again, we have a Bombkin doing half the, not even, I mean less than half, more like 25% of what myself and the mage are doing, assuming the mage is in heirlooms. But of course, perhaps the spec, yeah, definitely I saw in there with heirlooms, but perhaps the spec is also, I don't know what's going on here. But the one thing I will say that I did notice that definitely isn't good, and probably bugged, right? But is that when you queue up for a dungeon, you get a very large amount of experience, right? Like the completion of the dungeon used to be the best part. You would pray to get into the very end of dungeons, because if you didn't need the quest from them, there was almost no experience to be gained going through. And in BFA, we talked a lot about on the beta, it seemed like they were dramatically increasing the amount of experience trash and bosses gave, right? To the point where, you know, dungeons were actually very viable. If you've been watching the streams, you would have heard me say this. The fastest way to level might actually be to get a 5-man group who wants to do 110 to 120 in one sitting and just spam dungeons. It's not a great idea because you're going to have to go back and do the reps and get the world quest unlocked. But I think it might be the fastest way. I do. And it seems like it might be the case in this dungeon too, because I actually gained a lot of experience from this one dungeon. And you see 252 for that one mob. So I don't know. I don't know if that's true or not, if they made that change for this. But what they did do, seemingly, is they took the bonus experience off. Like, so you do one dungeon, you get, say, 50,000 experience, whatever would be an appropriate amount for your level. And then after that, it's gone. And it seems to be, I don't know how people know this, but it seems to be that it's once a week. And I guess people might know this because it didn't like come back the next day. I'm not sure. I wasn't home at all yesterday. I was still at the beach, whatever, blah, blah, blah. Came home yesterday. So I don't know. I don't know what's happened here. But that would be something that would, to me, indicate that there are some bugs, something going wrong with this system. Something not working as intended. But at the same time, if they did do that, I would not be surprised at all, because a lot of people still seem to be confused about what the appropriate way to level your characters are. And I love dungeons, don't get me wrong. Of course, you know me, you know Blood, Death, Night, dungeons in general are my true calling in World of Warcraft. Love the game, but also love dungeons. And leveling dungeons used to be a lot of fun too, to the point that I could easily see myself leveling a character 20 to 58 just to do the classic dungeons. I love them, hate them on private servers because they're so long and so, you know, people are so ill prepared for them, but they're a lot of fun to just see, right? But it should not be the fastest way to level. It never should have been. It ruined the leveling experience for a very long time. And when 7.3.5 changed that, I was very appreciative of that change. I was for it. Let's put it that way. Very much for it, because it was going to get more people out in the world. That's where you need people, you know. In a dungeon, you only need 4 others besides you, and you can get them randomly. The fact that, you know, that's a whole nother video, the random queue, blah, blah, blah. But as you see, these people are complaining. They're like, why are you not letting the tank pull? It's like, it doesn't matter. Why wouldn't? You know what I mean? We're not wiping. Nobody's taking damage. We're fine. So these, like, the only thing I could think of is that these people are used to just spam queuing dungeons, blowing them over, and they don't want things to be different. They want it to be that way. They're not thinking clearly on the topic. They're making threads with absurd blanket statements that are not only false, but insulting to the game. and I can't reach them. There's nothing I could say to do. So this is the video. If you guys have any input, please change my mind on this topic. I don't know what's happening here. Outside of the experience change, I don't know. I haven't seen any evidence that this is actually any harder. So thanks for watching. I'm glad to be back. Stream tomorrow for sure. See you guys in the next one.